What does success look like in your life? And what steps do you have to take to get there? And how long do you plan it taking? Today we look at 3 ways to set strategic goals for a successful life. Number one is you want to become successful in something that you're passionate about and it benefits many. Granville T. was known as the Black Edison. He registered nearly 60 patents. Of these included a telephone transmitter, a trolley wheel, and a multiplex telegraph. Now, the multiplex telegraph, that's where he ended up getting his name, Black Edison, because he defeated Thomas Edison in a patent lawsuit. You may be wondering what a multiplex telegraph is, but we're going to save that for a little bit later. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but it's important to understand what you can see is that Woods was able to specialize in electrical engineering. Each of his inventions was able to advance the cause of ways that we can use electricity within our lives and are still being used to this day. Now, the trolley wheel, you may be like, well, Dre, what does the trolley wheel have to do with electricity? Well, it's the way that the wheels interact with the tracks where they conduct electricity to help them keep moving. He was the inventor of that. So by becoming an expert in electrical engineering, he even had the likes of Thomas Edison offering him to be on his team. And now Woods was like, I'm not really interested in that. The things that I'm super excited, I'm motivated about, that's not the same thing that you're doing. So he declined to be a part of Edison's team. But even Edison understood how specialized and how talented his skill is. And you find that the most successful people are going to be ones that have a specialized talent. We always will pay more for someone who is an expert in some field, because when we have that particular problem and then you go onto Google to solve that problem, you're not putting in a generic information on your search. You're going to be putting in a very specific information, and then you want to be able to find someone who specializes in that particular field. And so he was able to kind of carve a niche out for himself during a time where he was born to free parents, but it's not that his parents were always free. So what we're really talking about is the Reconstruction period right after the Civil War. So during this time, there was a lot of opportunity, and Woods was able to take advantage of that opportunity by creating a specialty that he was known for, to the point that he was considered the Black Edison. And interesting enough, not in the sense that he was even second to him, but it was in the sense that they were in the same field. And after he won that patent defense on the multiplex telegraph, people were like, oh, okay. So this Woods guy is like not playing around. He's doing his own thing. He's becoming very successful. And we could reach out to him just as readily as we could reach out to Edison. And so it became a very lucrative space for him to be in. What space could you carve out for yourself today where you have the expertise, or you're willing, or at least would enjoy getting the expertise, where people will know to reach out to you for their particular problem? Because again, as you already know, entrepreneurship is solving other people's problems for a profit. So what problems exist in the world can you solve? Can you provide the value and help other people along their way so that they can be more successful and get everything that they want? And as a result, you'll get everything that you want. Number two is you want to make sure that you're setting strategic priorities to accomplish these life goals that you have for yourself. You are not going to be able to do everything within your life. You're going to have to make some choices. So what is most important to you? When I was worried about getting ahead of myself earlier, it was because we were talking about the multiplex telegraph. While the multiplex telegraph was an amazing invention and something that Woods was very proud of his accomplishment, it wasn't actually what he was focusing on. And so interesting enough, he ended up selling the patent to his multiplex telegraph to Alexander Graham Bell. And he ended up being able to use that money to now start working on some projects that were important to him. So you're going to find that there's going to be distractions along the way where people are going to offer some money even. But you have to be able to say, you know what? I can't just say yes to everything based on a dollar if it doesn't have to do with my life goals, my strategic alignment. You want to make sure that you are allowing yourself the time and the opportunity and the bandwidth to be able to accomplish what your life goals are. We can't go around saying that I want to be this today, and then tomorrow you're over there looking and you're like, oh, that looks really good. I want to be that tomorrow. Oh, well, that's a really good idea. I'm going to be that next month, because you're going to find that you're not getting anywhere. And as I often share, for me, my biggest struggle that I had last year was the fact that I was allowing that to happen to me. And what I ended up doing is, and I compare it to a bridge, where I basically had a bunch of bridges halfway completed, a quarter of the way completed, 80% of the way completed. And then somewhere along the way, I got shiny object syndrome, and I turned around, came back, and then I started building another bridge to get from where I am to where I wanted to be. And then the year was over, and I didn't have any bridges completed. And it's very frustrating because I did a lot of work. I was able to build a lot of bridges partially, but I wasn't able to complete any of them to get exactly the multiplex telegraph right. I just beat Edison in defending my patent. As awesome as this will be, this isn't my end game. This is not what I'm excited about. This is just something that I'm blessed to be able to figure out, but it doesn't mean that I have to do that. And there is that balance where a lot of people, we're going to be like, well, I have this skill, but it's not necessarily something that I want to do all the time. Well, use your skill, make the money, and then as you make the money, then you put that money to work where it allows you to transition into something else. Because that's exactly what Woods did. He was able to take that money from Alexander Graham Bell when he sold him the patent, and then he was able to start working on a lot of these other projects. Now, one of the ones that he was excited about that we talked about a little earlier was that trolley wheel. He was very excited about that. He enjoyed rail cars, and so he was able to do a lot of work and a lot of innovations within that industry itself, and that was just something that he was very passionate about. But what are you passionate about? What is something that you're wasting some time on because it gives you a little bit of money today, but you're not using that money in a way that allows you to position yourself to being able to do something that you are actually passionate about? You want to be able to do that. I'm not telling you to be a purist in the sense that don't do nothing, even if it pays your salary and keeps your lights on and feeds you. But what I am saying is, let's not spend it all. Let's put some of it away towards my opportunity fund because I want the opportunity to be able to make a change in my life. Put it towards that, where now you're doing something, where you're investing it, where you're growing it, and then your money's working for you, because that's really the goal, is for you to be able to create the lifestyle where you can now do what it is that makes you happy, what is driving you to leave the world a better place. And this is as good of a time as any to mention that I do have that free resource available. It's usually in the show notes, or you can go to forecasthope.com/opportunity, and there you can download my Lifetime Millionaire Success Blueprint. In it, you'll be able to either use it to create $1 million in your life or to capitalize on your next $1 million opportunity. Again, that's forecasthope.com/opportunity. And number 3 on our 3 ways to set strategic goals so that you can live a successful life is you want to create strategic partnerships. There are going to be things in your life that have to be done on your way to achieving whatever that life goal is that you don't want to do. And you don't want to waste your time where you're wasting your energy trying to motivate yourself to do something that you don't want to do. Some things you will have to do. I totally get that. I'm not telling you, again, to just pay anybody, but what I am saying is if you have the opportunity, if you have the option to bring someone in who is super excited about the thing that you dread, then go ahead and pay that person, especially if it's something where it's like $10, $15 an hour, because that person is an expert. And they're going to provide much more value. And again, you are the CEO, you're the vision, you're the leader. And whether that's on a team or your own company, where you have to be able to allot your time towards the vision. And you have to be able to delegate some of those tasks out. So if it's something that you're not super excited about doing, create the partnership that allows you to be able to free up your time and your bandwidth so that you can get working on the goals that you're trying to get to. Time is the one thing that you don't get more of. Money, you get more of that. That's something that you need to be able to use as a resource as it is. That is not what the goal is. We're trying to create the opportunity for you to be able to live that life of happiness, chasing that purpose that you're striving towards. So we talked about how Granville T. Woods was able to catapult himself when he was able to sell the multiplex telegraph to Alexander Graham Bell. Well, he was also able to create a strategic partnership with his brother, where he reorganized his Cincinnati company and moved to New York with his brother. And there, they were able to work together with the Woods Electric Co. because his brother had several of his own inventions, and they were able to grow their company through their strategic alliance, where each one had something to offer, and they were able to create more success. Who could you partner with? Where could you maybe be open to moving? Where is the opportunity currently at? Is there as much opportunity available for the position that you want? I know when I was younger and I was finishing up my economics and then my master's in economics, I wanted to be an economist. I love that stuff. And when I'm in Florida, when I was looking, there wasn't as many opportunities in Florida to be an economist. There was a lot of them in DC. A lot of economists generally work within the public sector, either in the school or they work within the government in some way, shape, or form. And there are some private sector roles, but they're not as many. And so I had contemplated moving to like Washington, D.C. or like New York or one of those kind of hubs because it seemed like there was more opportunity available for me to be an economist. Now, as my family started and as things started changing, I was reorganizing my priorities. But I understood that for me to get the role that I was looking for, that I would have to be willing to move to create more opportunities for myself. You may have a company, and it may make sense for you to partner with another company where you create a joint venture of some kind. There's always going to be opportunities available for you to create these strategic partnerships where you're able to scale much quicker. Sometimes these strategic alliances is just getting a training where you're taking some information from a course from someone else, paying a mentor or a coach, where now they're shrinking their knowledge into a few hours so they can help you on your learning curve. Whatever partnerships that you need to make, you want to be able to invest in yourself, and you want to make sure that you are ready to capitalize on that opportunity when it presents itself. So Granville T. Woods, it's actually amazing because you don't hear a lot about him. Again, he reminds me a lot of Lewis Latimer, where you have this connection with Thomas Edison and Alexander Graham Bell. You're a black electrical engineer coming up around the end of the Civil War and the Reconstruction period, and they're doing a lot of great things. They're patenting stuff. They're very successful, and you don't really hear a lot about them in the history books. But it doesn't change their impact. There's no doubt about it that Granville T. Woods created an impact within the electrical industry during that time. And you want to make sure that you have the same strategic mindset that Woods has, so that you're able to capitalize on your opportunities, so that you're able to accomplish your goals and live a more successful life. I'm always thankful for your time. If you've enjoyed this video or listening to this audio, the only thing I ask for you is to subscribe. As always, I'm thankful for your time. Until next time, continue blessings on your journey to become the champion of your dream life. And as always, better self, better wealth.